Yes.
And we are recording on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024 at 12:35 p.m. Eastern Time. A lot of people know Morgan here as the author of a book about Blackwater. I know him as my husband and lover, and it's 1,400 episodes in. It's time to stand my ground and let you guys know. It's not gay. It's not gay. It's just we're just cool guys hanging out. That's all it is. It's just cool guys hanging out. Morgan's been on here once before. Your book, Guns, Girls, and Greed's fucking hilarious. As I've described it, it's Tucker Max meets active combat, which is the best. Some people might be like, that's awful, but to me, that's the best compliment I can give you. And some people might say that's the worst thing I can say. And I don't know, fuck yourself. It's a great book. It's legitimately hilarious. I still think that you getting drunk with quote unquote Dale, and not for everybody listening, not the Dale everyone on my show knows, not Delta Force Dale. Dale, don't kill me. Pseudonym Dale in the book. I just want to suck you off. Be like, dude, fuck off. Like, yeah, you slept with a loaded gun under your pillow, and you're surprised you didn't blow your brains out. But with that schizophrenic introduction, Morgan, introduce yourself, guys. The link to the book is in the description. So is the link to your Instagram. I'm gonna post the live link, and you're gonna take the show away. We're actually gonna try to stay a little more on topic as opposed to last time. So, Mr. Lerette.
Well, thank you for having me on again.
Yes,
And look,
sir.
the best part about having a homoerotic relationship is that like there's less drama. You got a workout partner.
Yes.
You just get your hump on real quick and
Yeah.
then it's over, right?
You
Like there's
spotting
no
each other in the
emotions.
gym and in
Yeah.
bed. It's just cool
It's like
guys helping each
let's
other
go get a
out.
burger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go get a burger. And like that's also the nickname for my ass. And it's like, yeah, people are always like, that's gay. And I'm like, it's not gay. We're just cool guys. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Enjoying each other's company.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Morgan Lorette, I wrote the book Guns, Girls, and Greed. If you guys can see it, if you're on the video platform, it's right behind me. Go check it out. I know like 26 bucks for a book is a pain in the ass. I've spent $26 on a book and I hated it. This is not the book that you're gonna hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's worth every penny. So I just poor white trash kid growing up and joined the military in 1999 because I was like, cool, we're not in any wars or anything.
Yeah.
And my grandfather was a World War II veteran, and he's like, go join the Air Force. They have the best food. So that's literally the only reason I
Yeah.
joined the Air Force instead of the Army.
Chair Force. Yeah.
They have better food.
Yeah.
And then 9/11 happened. I got activated for like 2 straight years. And then it was just, I volunteered for everything, young, single dude. So went
Yeah.
to Oman for my first deployment. And then we went to Jordan before the ground offensive in Iraq. And then they found out we were in Jordan. So they sent us to Kuwait. And then from Kuwait, we went into Iraq during the ground offensive where Jessica Lynch was rescued. Um, and then after that, I got out, was like, what the heck do you do with your life? So I started going to college, and my buddy from the Air Force, who was a former Force Recon Marine, he's like, dude, let's go work for Blackwater. And I was like, that sounds terrible. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. Because this was like March 2004 is when those guys got hanged off the bridge in Fallujah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So look, the people that were volunteering to do this job didn't have, at least me, I didn't have all my screws, tightened up. Like there was a few loose up there.
Of course.
So I ended up getting a call because it was word of mouth stuff back then. And they're like, hey, your buddy Tony's Tony in the book. He's like, yeah, said you're a good guy. You want to come out and like do a train up, and then if you pass everything, you go to Iraq. And I was like, why the heck not? 550 bucks a day, 23 years old. Like I was,
Fucking cheddar.
why the heck not? Like invincible too.
Yeah.
Um, so and I go through it in the book, but like the stupidity of going through my head of holy crap, you're gonna go work for Blackwater, and I bought throwing knives and crap, like
No, that
like
is
like I've ever
hilarious.
thrown a knife. Like,
You're
come
gonna
on.
get the
Um,
Hitler plate for your grandma.
yeah, the Hitler plate for grandma. So yeah, I worked for Blackwater for about a year and a half. Got done with them, went and got my degree, and it was 2007. And like I said, I don't ever plan anything. So 2007, the housing market is
I'm gonna join the
crashing.
military. It's
Uh,
1999. There's no wars. I'm gonna I'm
yeah,
gonna buy a
exactly.
house. It's 2000s. Tell me that I'm 2019. I'm gonna go to China. Next time you have a big idea, just as an aside, text me so I can not do it.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. And I was like, don't worry, I'll get this house just before the housing market
Yeah.
crashes. And then I joined the Army ROTC program to fly helicopters, and they were like, that's a 7.5 year contract. And I was like, fuck you,
Yeah.
7.5 year contract. Like I had
Yeah.
already done over 6 years, and I knew I wasn't gonna like the army. So I went as an intel guy, got a really cool intel gig doing human signal
Mm-hmm.
intelligence and counterintelligence stuff. Went back to Iraq, '09 and 10, and then finally just kind of cut the cord.
Mm.
And then I went to this snooty little private school up in Boston called Tufts University, where I got to meet a lot of people that I would have never crossed paths with. I mean, I asked these guys, like, do you think you're liberal or conservative? And they're like, I'm down the middle. And I was like, oh, good. So I got like this gun, and they're like, guns are bad.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, okay, like you're not
No.
like if you think you're in the middle, let me show you. Like I'm a pretty down the road type
Yeah.
of dude. Um, and then after Tufts, I just went into corporate America, and on a whim, people were like, dude, the stories you tell about Blackwater are hilarious and absolutely terrifying. Like you should write a book. So I just started writing a book out of boredom.
Mm.
It wasn't even a book, it was just stories. And you could
Yeah.
tell when you read the book, like it's story after story, and then I put them in chronological order and added some context. But it's really just like the craziest time of my life with some of the smartest dudes on the planet
Mm.
that were just absolute lethal
Yeah.
killers.
Yeah.
And you're hanging out with these guys and you're like, how are you this smart and you didn't go to Harvard? It's like,
Yeah.
well, I grew up on a farm in Iowa, like,
Yeah.
same white trash kid as me.
Yeah.
And they just decided that they wanted to go do cool shit.
Yeah.
So,
It's also not to suck your dick. It's not white trash. I think my generation's seen that college degree means nothing. It's I mean, when my best friend from middle school and high school, Joe, just did like half a semester of college and was like, fuck this, and became a carpenter. Still makes more money than anyone I know and has never had a penny of debt. And so yeah, I think and I remember reading Black Hawk Down by Mark Bowden in 2016. He's talking about like a lot of the guys in like Delta Force were just like insanely high IQ, and it was like, why are you doing this? And they're like, I just want a fucking challenge, man. They're like Harvard Business School is boring, or like I got a 4.0, or like I got into the Olympics. They're like, so you do get a lot of the guys that are just like, dude, I want the apex of a challenge, right? And then it's also like I think my older brother was asking me one time because I was talking about Dale. And, Dale's in CIA ground branch, which recruits from Delta, and my brother was like, I feel like you would just be constantly looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life. And I was like, yes. And I always used to think that, like, how is that, how can you live your life? And I always used to think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's just, they have better intel on potential threats. And as I've got to know Dale better, I'm like, oh, he is. And he loves that. It's just something you can't put a price on. And also, your book, my freshman and sophomore year, I went to Valdosta State University, which is a little podunk school in southern Georgia. And I guess I feel like I can identify with your book more because when I transferred to UGA, which is a big party school, there was still like, it's like, yeah, there are huge frats here and a huge football program. But I'd be like, there's just a level of insanity at a smaller school in the middle of like Georgia that you really can't put it's like what your frat house has 5 rooms, not 50. And I'm like, yeah, but there's something about like sitting on the roof of a frat house, like throwing like Molotovs into your own driveway and like slitting tires of like the nearby frat and like legitimately like a friend like shooting at cars and like that you can't really put a title on. And then so when I listen to you and you're like young 20s, invincible, and you're talking about like the pool, like we had a pool, like you're talking about like the pool at the compound. And I'm like, yeah, that's Valdosta dialed up to fucking 11. It's that active war zone. And I think that's maybe why I fanboy about your book so much is I'm like, I can't understand your experience in the same way that my buddies at Georgia couldn't understand mine. And I guess that's what kind of leaves me in awe about it. But to not quickly spiral off into obscurity, the idea of the morality of civilians in combat. And you do talk about it in your book, kind of your own transformation, right? Where you become colder and you're just kind of like, you know, ram the car. I don't give a shit. Or it's like a dog. You're like, I will kill every person in this country before I like let anyone hurt that dog. And you do start to see your own transformation. I've seen my own transformation in this show where after X number of years, I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like, fuck off. Like, no, there is no argument for censorship. You're a faggot. And it's kind of made me colder, right? Can you maybe go into that, because that was your experience of you changing, but the civilian morality, how did that bend?
Well, so when I went back as an army officer, I told all my soldiers we were going to be there for a year. I said, look, the first 3 months, you're going to try to save everybody. Second 3 months, you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to try to help. Third 3 months, you're just gonna be like, okay, I'm not like, don't really care anymore. And then the last 3 months is like, I just want the hell out of here. And nobody believed me. I had soldiers come up to me later and say, oh my God, like you almost nailed it. And I think it's just a natural progression of being over in an area where the people don't want you there. You don't necessarily want to be there as an army, as a military guy for sure. Um, and then how does it progress? Like, these people like you want them to have a better country for them and you want it more than they do and you start getting frustrated and you start getting angry and then you're on alert all the time, right? Like the stress levels of
Mm.
just being over in country and like, oh, hey, we heard gunfire over there, or hey, there was a rocket that hit kind of close. Even if you're not in direct combat, like there is a stress level over there that when you come home, you can't decompress from it very fast. And you can call it PTSD, you can call it whatever the heck you want, but it's just a natural progression of like you get a new job, right? You start a new job and you're all happy. And then after 3 months, you're like, okay, I'm kind of understanding what's going on. I can do my work. And then after a while, you're just like,
Fuck these
okay,
people.
well, yeah, well, now it's mundane, right? It's just the same thing day in and day out. And that's almost all jobs. But I said maybe your carpenter buddy, he's like, today I am going to frame up the most beautiful Sistine Chapel that I can.
No, he's the
But
best. He's like, I'm getting paid and I'm not in debt. Fuck these cabinets. Like,
so with a civilian, the difference is that I volunteered to keep going back. And in my head, I could leave whenever the heck I wanted to, right? Like, oh, you can go. So you do 6 months. I did 6 months. I came back. I blew a bunch of money on a Land Rover, blew through almost all my stockpiles. And then it was like, well, what are you going to do now? Well, you got to go back.
mm,
And then you got to go back. And then you got to go back. And it doesn't matter how much money you make, there is something comforting about how easy a life it is over in Iraq. And that sounds insane.
no,
But
I
look,
don't think it's insane at all. It's the path of least resistance.
yeah,
You
dude, I'm
carved
making
it out.
$550 a day.
Yeah.
I don't have to do my own laundry. They're feeding me all the time. I can hit the gym whenever I want.
Uh-huh.
When I drive around, people are like, "Oh, get out of this guy's way." When
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking around on the base, people are like, "Oh, that's the guy with the beard. We don't mess with him. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's cool." Like you're almost treated like the apotheosis of yourself. Like you're becoming this god in your head.
Like the
And then you come
actualized
home.
you. Yeah. And then you come home and
Yeah.
people are like,
And you
you're
come home and
late.
you're like,
You're like, what?
what snack do I want from the Circle K? And you look, and there's more snacks at the Circle K than any PX over in Iraq, or at least the places I was. And it just
You get caught behind some grandma in traffic and you're like, I'm not in an up armored Humvee. I can't ram
oh,
her. And if I
oh,
was, I
dude,
still couldn't. I'd go to jail.
even so, I was driving this Land Rover through, I don't know, somewhere in Nevada. And we're in these like switchbacks, and I'm riding this guy's ass. And dude, I don't even know it. Like, it doesn't even occur to me until the person that I'm with is like, "Hey, what the heck is going on?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm trying to figure out a time to pass. Like this person, and then they got off on the side of the road. You could tell they were like freaked out, and I
Mm,
was like, "This is just daily driving for me. Like, this is how I drive now."
mm,
And I mean, it took a long time just to be able to go through and be like, oh yeah, there are rules of the road here. Like
mm.
there's nobody that is going to come up. Scariest thing that ever happens in Iraq. I don't care what other people say. When a car is coming up on like a T intersection and they're barreling at you and you don't know if they're going to stop, and
Yeah.
you're thinking that's a car bomb,
Yeah.
that's like they're going to hit us, there's something, you pop your rifle up, give a couple rounds into a tire into the engine block, and then you keep driving. To this day, when I drive just regularly and somebody's barreling up at like a stoplight, like
Just
my
gets you.
hands still move. Like they still
Mm,
move. Like my body naturally reacts. So it's just such a different life, but it's easy. It's cake.
yeah.
Like I don't have to worry about what I'm having on Tuesday. It's whatever slop they throw on my plate, and I'm just gonna chow it down.
Yeah. No, there is something about it. I mean, yeah, I mean, I was same guy, my buddy Joe. His dad had a door frame warehouse in Georgia. This is like 2005 or 2006. In high school, we'd work there in the summer, and like you didn't have a summer. The hours there were longer than the hours at school, but you're fucking 15 and you're making like $12 an hour. That's that's like being a Blackwater worker. You have more fucking money than you know what to do. You're like, well, I don't even. I mean, we were making like $500 a week and had braces. Like we didn't fucking and like we didn't have licenses. None of us had girlfriends, so it was just like buy any video game I want, buy any fuck anything, stupid shit. Go to the Braves games, go to the Falcons game, like go do anything, and then you blow it all, and it'd be like, well, I don't really want to go back to that warehouse that has no air conditioning, but I know what to do. I recognize all the door frame sizes. I don't want to do this forever because you see the other guys there and they're 50, 60, and they don't have a choice. But it's easy to slide back into it. And when like I remember we convinced our other friend to join us, and he was like, "Why the fuck would I want to do this?" And after like a week, he's like, "Oh, yeah, you kind of it. Money is the lubricant." You're like, "Yeah, it sucks. And I'm exhausted, and we're getting drunk on a Monday, and we're hungover. But man, like, wash it in money. Doesn't matter. I'm hungry. Doesn't matter. We'll fucking order in food. It's nothing. You tip them, make them come faster, and it's addicting. Now, granted, that's 15 working in a warehouse versus being a mercenary, but I feel like there's the same general theme of if you're not in it, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Versus if you are in it, you're like, yeah, man, it's always there. Door's always open. Just slide back in.
Oh, dude, I've been out of the game for 20 years, and I'll have somebody hit me up on like Facebook and be like, "Hey, we're trying to put together a contract." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm too old for that shit."
Yeah.
And you were 10 years older than me at the time. You're too old for that shit.
Yeah. I'm
Like people
33.
always
Yeah.
talk, they're like, let's get the band back together, the Blackwater band. And I'm like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna sit there with our walking sticks with the damn
The dowsing.
tennis balls on them and be like, yeah, let's go, oxygen tanks. Oh, I'm on my way. Like, and it's a young man's game, and there
Yeah.
were so many old people in it. It was just it became addictive, right? Like I was
Yeah.
lucky. I did 18 months. I got fired twice during that 18 months.
Hell
I
yeah.
still could have came back, but at some point I just looked at it was like, I'm never going to have a normal life if I just keep going back.
I got fired 2 summers in a row at that job. Kept going.
Yeah.
Joe's dad knew me.
It-
He was like, Tommy, you're a shithead. I'm like, yes, sir.
So, I mean, dude, there's still dudes that are over there contracting now that started when I did. And they were in their late 30s, early 40s back then. And it's like, holy shit, man. Like, how do
Yeah.
you have any kind of semblance of a normal life? And then you have to realize that for them,
That is their
that is
normal
their
life.
normal life. Like, that is,
I mean, yeah, I mean, I look at like some of my dad's from like a tiny blue collar town. I look at some of his like friends, family that I've met, and they're great guys. But like my cousin's a year older than me, and right out of college, he went and worked on an oil rig, and was like, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. He's like, I'm swimming in money. All the food's there. You don't have. There's no traffic. You wake up. You're at work, and I think his roommate died. Like a crane fell on him, and he's like, "What the fuck do I care?" But then he got married and had a kid, and was like, "I don't want to do this anymore." But like one of my dad's friends is in his 60s, but never got married, never had kids. Every year he's like, "I'm fucking done with this shit," and every year he goes back, and he's like, "I know it. I know like the back of my hand. I know the routine, and I'm just gonna drown in money." And then I have 6 months off to do whatever the fuck I want. And I do. I guess in theory, I get it. You know why would? And then again, I look at someone like Dale, and I'm like, Dale, why do you? Because Dale's done well for himself. I'm like, Dale, why do you still take contracts? Dale's the youngest ever member of Delta Force. He was 23 when he was in. I was like, why do you still do this shit? And he's like, oh, I just fucking love it. I don't really care about the money. And I'm like, well, you're different. You're a different animal. You're an apex predator, and I don't think anyone really can relate to that. But yeah, it's you did make the transition back. I mean, I would imagine some things don't change, right? That reflex that's just carved in you through cortisol and adrenaline. But it also makes me think of that quote, man doesn't rest where he finds happiness or wealth. He rests where he finds peace. And I feel like that, I mean, I've talked to you, this is the second time, but I feel like that's kind of you talk about it at the end of your book, right? Like the dogs falling in love and all that stuff, and like the bus ride and it stops, and you have like the awkward second goodbye. But you can start to see you kind of, you are getting out. you are like, you just get the band back together. You're like, dude, no. I mean, even now, you look like you got like a nice bed behind you and a bedside table. You're like, I'm not going back to Iraq. I'm cozy, right? Is that anywhere near the truth?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. You just get to a point, at least I got to a point. I know there's a lot of people that didn't. But you get to a point where it's like, do I want to have this life over here in Iraq, or do I want to have a life where I could get married, I can have kids, I can have my dog, I can have a house? Like what do you want in life? And it doesn't, I don't think that guys like me ever find peace necessarily.
Sure.
Like you try to find the closest thing to it. I'm highly competitive, and
Yeah.
I was competitive in high school, but not like I was after Blackwater. Like
Yeah.
when I got out, I started going to college. I had to get a 4.0 in college,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I needed to get into the best graduate
Yeah.
schools, and I needed to have the best PT score when I was in the army. Like when you're around those apex predators, you
Wears off
start
on you.
turning yourself like into it. Like everything is a dick measuring contest, and everything you're always looking around. You're like looking on your back, like who's gonna come up and just like
Yeah.
hit me with a random hanger,
It's
right?
but it's the
Why the hell
best.
not?
But it's the best.
Yeah.
It is.
And
It's the
then
fucking best.
and then I came home and was able to kind of direct that competitiveness towards like creating a new life for myself.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But a lot of those
Same
guys
addiction.
just, oh yeah, yeah,
Same addictive
exactly.
personality, I mean.
Well, dude, and it doesn't matter how much money I make. It doesn't matter if this book becomes a New York Times bestseller. I'm gonna be like,
Gotta write the next
dude,
one.
that's cool. I need to write another book, or hey, I
Yeah.
need to go out there and I just ran a half marathon like 3 weeks ago, just for giggles. And people are like, why you're 43? Why do you keep doing it? And it's like, just to test
The
myself.
taste of
Like,
blood, that's why.
yeah,
Yep.
because I really enjoy being miserable for like 16 miles because I got lost on the half marathon course. Like,
No, but there is truth to that, man. I mean, being like I was like a crazy weightlifter in high school when I got to college and decided I wanted to be a doctor. No, it wasn't enough to like just pass. I was like, I need a 99. It really is like, no, it's not enough that I get an A in OChem. I want people to legitimately not be able to graduate because they have to retake the class. People are like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care what's wrong with me. It's war. Getting into medical school is war. And, and then right after I got out of college and, my brother committed suicide, it was the same addictive personality, just in the other direction. Benzos, cough syrup, acid, weed, alcohol. Gained 70 fucking pounds. Fat as fuck, angry, just pissed off, unemployed. Now I do the podcast and done 1,453 episodes and 427 game streams. I have to do this. To me, this is no different than snorting Xanax. I'm channeling it, and it doesn't matter. What if my show blows up? Cool. I want to build the next thing, and it's you could say in one sense it's there is no resting, but I think at a certain point you realize there is never any resting. You're never going to find true peace, so you find the least worst addiction. And to me, it's just I think like you, just competition, just get better, faster, stronger, sharper. It's as far as addictions go, or you keep going back to Iraq until eventually you get blown up. This is probably the least damaging thing to yourself and those that you love.
well, that's what I like. War is toxic, but it's intoxicating,
Sure,
right?
fuck
And you
yeah,
see it on that Hurt Locker movie, which I thought was stupid, but like kind of hit at that, right? The guy just kept chasing the dragon on that,
yeah.
right?
500
And
days,
you
400
have to look
days.
at like a natural bell curve, right? You got your 10% over here that are your high performers, and then you got everybody else, and then you got your 10% that are low performers. I think it took me a long time to realize that not everybody's in that 10%. Not everybody likes to run a marathon, watch somebody like break in the middle of it, and it drives them to be like, oh, yeah, no, that's
Fuck
awesome.
that
I just
bitch.
watched that guy break. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
fuck you,
or
pussy.
just keep poking at people until you see them like crack. Like,
Sure.
it doesn't make sense to most people. Like, I mean, nobody that I know of, except for the guys at Blackwater, are the same mentality. And you just have to like you have to figure out how to tone that down, right? Like I
Sure.
got kids. I can't be like, come on, Preston, you should be out there in the WWF.
Yeah. Yeah.
It 4 years old kicking butt.
Yeah.
Like you just find a balance at some point.
until he tastes blood on his own and then becomes a monster.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, if he wants to become a monster, great. If he wants to be like the sweet, innocent
Yeah,
kid for the rest of his life, good for him too.
yeah.
Like, I,
Well, I look at like my dad. My dad grew up beyond poor. I mean, far below the poverty level, and was reached success by the age he was 30. Like better than the rest of his family combined forever. Just leave it at that. And like I think about growing up, and like I could tell my dad would have to like tone it down. He'd be like, "Hey, you just gotta go out there and have fun." But every once in a while, when it'd be something like I scored in the top like 1% of the MCAT, or about hey, my podcast just scored like 2 million views or something. You can kind of it's like moving your hand under a blanket and a cat's eyes go black. I can kind of see that in my dad, where he's just like, "Fuck yeah," like and now I'm 33, so you can probably be like eviscerate your competition, destroy them all. But yeah, when you're a kid, it's like you also you do need that, right? It probably would have broken me if my dad was like that when I was a kid. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, and then when you see yourself changing, and not to be all like poetic, like I had to leave before I found myself, or some shitty fucking trailer for a movie or something. But you do start to notice that, right? You talk about it in your book. You're like, these are the signs that I would in the future recognize as PTSD, where it's just anger. You're like, fuck them, smash into it, eat a dick, because yeah, you're there. It's not 1940s like Vichy France, where you are liberating them from literal Nazis. That doesn't happen anymore. Didn't happen in Korea. Didn't happen in Nam. Maybe in like Grenada, but it doesn't happen anymore. So they don't want you there. You don't want to be there. You're like, you go there like, I'm gonna make this a democratized country, and by the end, you're like, eat a fucking dick, get out of my way, blow their head off.
Well,
When
the problem, so this goes back to the morality of it, right?
yeah,
Like, morality has no place in combat. In World War II and before that, you end when you defeat the enemy, right? And then Vietnam happened, and then like we switched the morality around to be like, we're trying to stop communism,
it's
or
a
now we're
domino
trying to like,
theory, and we're trying to put Cheng or Ho Chi Minh here, but if we do this, and you're like, what?
yeah, like it's become this game instead of checkers where it's like, look, I'm just gonna go decimate the board. It's like chess, and then at the end of it, you're like, yeah, but we'll let them keep their queen and their king,
But
and
it's a chess
two
game
of
that
their
doesn't end
rooks.
either. You're like, well, I'm
Exactly.
not gonna kill you, so we're gonna kind of just put it here until eventually we are at war again.
Yeah, until there's a stalemate, right? Like that's just how it's always going to go. And then you start injecting civilians into that, right?
Mm.
Because now you don't want to be the occupier, right? This is not East and West Berlin for the next 40 years where we get to hang out and occupy something. So you start injecting these civilians in to try to start helping everybody. And what do you do with those people? What if you do if they do something bad? Which is a very small number of that, but like you also don't do anything for them if they do good, right? There's no VA, right? I was like, look, I know that that gave me PTSD now looking back at it, but when I came home I couldn't have been like, hey VA, what's going on? Hey Eric Prince, I'm having some problems and I'm thinking I'm gonna go out and like set my car on fire. Like nobody gives a shit. There's no funding, there's no long-term look the way that we look at soldiers. And politicians don't want to look themselves in the face to be able to say yes or no, like this is a good or bad, because it's just too easy. It's like throw Morgan out there. Nobody cares what happens to Morgan. He's 23, he's single, and nobody cares. Oh, he got blown up. Let's get him home, and you know, maybe we'll help pay for his burial expenses. But like his family's fucked, right? He went from making $200,000 a year to nothing. His family's got a house payment that they can't make. So there's none of that like fallback. Like there's SGLI for soldiers. You die overseas, you get $450,000 that goes to your family, right? They could pay off their house probably and live and figure out where they're going to go. You have the VA, you have medical. If you come back with the military, you have medical right on hand. You have your people to talk to. Like there's nothing when you come back as a contractor. And I'm not saying woe is me. I make great money. At the end of the day, it was me volunteering to go back over and over and over. But at the same time, like we've made it way too convenient to be able to put people overseas and not have to worry about what are the long-term effects of being in a combat zone for them.
Mm,
It's like, dude, like if I'm a politician and I'm voting for war, it's like the perfect thing. I'm not going to vote for war. I'm going to send over some private military contractors to train the locals.
yeah.
I'm going to send over PMCs to like help go in and open up a route or, help them figure out how to make brownies and shit. Like it's just easier.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dark. It's also one of those things where when you kind of get older and you start to accept things, and I don't mean like resign, because that's I don't like the idea of black pilling that back to the competition thing. I'm like, never give up. I'm like, burn the fucking bridges, drop the nuke on my position, eat a dick, like fuck off. But so much as you start to realize that the things you formerly thought were, when I was younger, high school, and you'd see my older brothers, and I'm like, hey, how come you don't talk to him anymore from high school? And it's like, oh, you kind of just grow apart. And I'm like, but those are your best friends. And I was like, I will never let that happen. And then eventually it happens to me, but I realized there was never any big fallout of like, fuck you. It's just I go here, you go, he gets married, and I go do this thing. You just I still see the wife's pregnant on Facebook, maybe on Christmas, hey buddy, love you, like you too, Tom. But it's not that I resigned to it. I just realized I'm like, oh, I was incorrect. It's you do just grow apart, and it's not a divorce. It's just yeah, that was my buddy. If I see him, I get grab a beer with him. That's just the way life goes. I wonder from your point of view if that makes you look at the DoD any different, where you're like, oh, no, it's not perfect, but that people, it's the biggest welfare thing is that's a way some people look at the DoD, but it's almost like maybe that's the least worst. Like all things considered, it's like we are an empire. We do exert our forces over the world. We do act as the world police and shipping lanes and in the ground, and we do have surprise. We do have interest in natural resources for the corporations that make money that pay taxes to fund the surprise. And then you go over there. There is PTSD. The war is getting relatively percentage wise less lethal, has been since 1945, and will continue to. And you come back and VA sucks, but it's there. You know, do you think it's kind of one of the friends growing apart where you go, oh, it's not ideal, but it's just what it is? Do you look at the DoD and go, and by the way, this podcast is sponsored by the Pentagon. Do you look at the DoD or something and you go like, not perfect, a lot of room for improvement, all things considered, that's maybe the best you're gonna. All things considered, you're sending people overseas to use lethal force. That's maybe like best case scenario.
It's the least worst option.
Yeah, yeah,
And dude, I've got 1,000 gripes with the DoD, right? Like
sure.
the Afghanistan pullout, where everybody's like, "Oh, I was against that," and they were like, "But President Biden said to do it. Like, you should have thrown your 4 stars on the table and said,
Yeah,
I'm
eat a
out."
dick. Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Um, the military structure, especially in the officer corps, has become such a political thing
mm,
that once you put on a star, you become a politician. You're
mm-hmm.
no longer like the person that's
You're
out there
jockeying
directing
for
forces.
position. Yeah,
And then even at the battalion level, lieutenant colonel, you are not the guy that's out there like,
you're not Dwight Eisenhower. That was one in a trillion.
yeah, like it's not going to happen. So once you hit somewhere around major, you get into the political side of the military, and then we've turned these generals into like these social media stars, right? Like these people are not out there to win wars anymore. They're out there to try to put a good face on something that doesn't have a good face. We're never going to win another war. And I'll tell you why. It's very easy. Project management. You have to have a start date and you have to have an end date when you meet those goals, right?
Yeah,
You always start there. We have not fought a war that we've done that since World War II. We just haven't. Somalia wasn't. We didn't have it in Desert Storm 1. We went up to a certain point at the Euphrates and said, okay, we're going to let them have it back. Like if there's no end point, then the people that are waging that war at the political level, at the officer level, the ones that are not on the ground are never going to actually let that war succeed. You can't.
yeah,
It's like, hey, I'm gonna go run a marathon, and they say, okay, well, start here, and you say, okay, well, where does it end? Is like 26.2? Is that how it normally goes? And they're like, oh, just keep going.
Yeah.
So you're at like 27, you're like, where's the end? And they're like, it's just a little bit further. Don't worry, we're helping build democracy while you run this.
Yeah,
Eh,
it's
we're helping little girls go to school that wouldn't be able to. Like, just keep running. And at the
yeah.
end, they say, good marathon. And you look back and you're like, dude, I didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah. And I'm broken and I, watch civilians die or I shot at someone and it turns out to be a civilian, but I legitimately thought they had a bomb and now I'm like, well fuck, did I do the right thing? And now you're coming back broken and yeah, I mean, you kind of being my own boss and all the horrors that it entails, it's fucking terrifying. But goddamn, man, nothing has like red pilled me more to just the complete superiority of incentive of being like, there's no like, it's Wednesday, just put in a solid 5 hours. I'm like, wake up, go to the gym, answer our emails. I got Morgan, and after that, I got Claire, and I got to wrap those things up, and I got to answer some emails. You get it done in 2 hours. You got a 2 hour workday. If it takes you 16, you got 16. But there's no, it's 1:10 now, Tom. Could you just hang around till 5? Okay, just fucking sit here playing with my nuts, being like, well, I'm just putting in the hours. But now scale that up to not working at Smoothie King, but an active combat zone carried out by $1 trillion military. And then you get the current state.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it is just a bummer, right? Like, I
You can, by the way, you can also just tell me I'm retarded. I'm 33 and have a biology degree. At any point, you can be like, no, that's wrong. Like I don't give a shit. You're not hurting my feelings.
no, there's just no. I think that every able-bodied male, if your country decides that it needs to go to war, should go to war, right? Like you just should. And you know what? Iraq in hindsight was ridiculous. Afghanistan in hindsight was ridiculous. But at the end of the day, like I was young, male, signed up for the draft, kind of my obligation. Um, but now that I'm older, it's like do I trust anybody to actually wage those wars correctly? Now, I grew up in war, so like I don't have qualms with it. It's not like I'm sitting here like, putting flowers in people's AR-15s or anything. But at the same time, like the paradigm has got to shift where guys like me go in and say, yeah, I know it's not really going to be that great and we're probably not going to win, but I still want to go do it. It's still something that I want to do instead of, the younger generations, the greatest generation that was like, we're going over there to kill some Nazis and we're done. I mean, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Japan bombed us. What did we do? We went over and started fighting the Germans. First thing. Like it's always kind of been there, but it's definitely a lot more political now based on the morality of combat
It's
that it used to be.
that it. I'm a history nerd, but that's kind of funny. Japan bombed us. All right, let's go fuck up Italy. You're like, wait, what, huh? Like, that it's kind of funny. I never thought about that. Yeah, dude, that guy just punched you. All right, where's his dad? Like, what are you doing, man? But and then yeah, man. Then there is that like, I guess like rite of passage, right? But then it gets hairy because, and maybe it's just looking into the past idyllically like we always do. But it seemed like World War II was justified. I mean, you had a small state, Germany, technologically advanced, and like cattle, just incinerating an entire population. Like it's comic book evil. You go,
So
it,
wait, let me push back on
no,
that.
no,
How
don't, no, no,
many
don't research into the fact that Wall Street invested in them heavily a decade prior. Don't look into Harriman Brothers or don't look into that.
Yeah, but how many of those soldiers knew that the Holocaust was
None. It was
happening?
happening. We
None of
we
them.
released it after
That's
proceed.
that's backwards morality of saying why this war happened against
Oh
Germany. And I'm not saying it was the wrong thing to do,
no, but that's a
and
very good
Germany was
point.
going to take over.
That's a
Like they
very good
they
point.
wanted world domination, but we're doing this is what we do with every war. We backwards morality it, right? Like,
Mm,
oh yeah, no, we're initially there to make sure that Al Qaeda can't have a place to train their troops. And then the next thing it's like, well, now we want to build democracy and now we want to make sure little girls can read and now we want to make sure like we backwards morality
that's a
into
very good point.
war.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that kind of shoots mine down. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. But because I think FDR got some briefings about aerial photographs of the concentration camps, but even they were like, don't bomb them. And then the pushback from the U.S. Army Air Forces was, well, if we bomb them and the people in there die, there were probably it's probably a merciful death. But then we ultimately decided, if I'm correct, we ultimately decided not to because it was just excess war material. We're like, don't waste the bombs there. Yeah, FDR knew, and like a couple others, but yeah, no one else fucking knew. That's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, they were probably at. You probably had a lot of guys like us just sitting there in a pub being like, wait, Japan bombed us and we're shipping off to Normandy? That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a. Well, has there ever been a just war? Then is there any just war other than revolution, 1770 for your freedom in your land? I mean, that's a legitimate question. I've always just looked at World War II and been like that one was justified, but yeah, no one fucking. That's a. I had never thought of. Maybe I'm not a history buff. Maybe this is me slowly realizing that I am retarded. Like
Well, wait,
you're my
so
handler. You're like
well, let's
put
go
the
back
life
to the
jacket and the helmet
Revolutionary
on.
War.
Yeah.
So the Revolutionary War, the tea tax that they were so pissed off about actually reduced the cost of tea, but it also gave a monopoly to the East India
West
Trading
East Indies
Company.
Company. Yeah.
Yeah.
The OG
Now, who
Amazon.
now who was going to lose out on that? Well, that was like John Hancock, the guys that were smuggling tea, right?
Mm.
So we can
Uh,
sit there and say oh, that was a just war and we needed our freedom, no
they're just
taxation
trying to
without
get their fucking.
representation.
They're trying to secure the bag.
Yeah, like it.
Fuck.
Look, I'm glad that we're not British over here because I don't think I could pull off the accent. But there's always something else going
That's
on.
a
Like,
fucking very good point. Jesus Christ. But breaking news. Communist sympathizer Morgan has infiltrated Tommy's podcast. I'm sitting here, I'm like, you're right. I'm fucking in a week. That's hammer and sickle. And I'm like, did you know the T tax is. Somebody's like, that's not real. They just pull it up. They're like, that's factually untrue. I'm like, oh.
you're like
Like,
Morgan just made all that stuff up.
they're like, this is what happens when you mix business with pleasure. You shouldn't have been fucking sucking them off. I'm like, that kid has a good smile. I don't. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Fuck me, right? But no, that's a. So then, is there ever any morality? Is there any moral war? I mean, does it come down to defend your home, defend the wife and kids? Is there anything past that? Is it all bullshit past that?
Well, what I to bring politics into it, but not too
I don't
far.
give a shit.
Liberals have become the party of war. Like we got to
Which is
go, we got to help, and we got to.
which is
And
fucking hilarious.
it's crazy. Like who would ever
Yeah,
saw this one coming?
yeah,
And then now you have like Republicans that are turning into isolationists. Like
yeah,
not isolationists like pre-World War II, like just let everybody go and do their thing, but pretty much like, look, let them fight their own fights. Up to the point that we actually need to intervene. And
yeah,
it's a complete like paradigm change. And I'm finding myself being more isolationist every day.
yeah.
It's like, why do I keep why are we sending money over to this place or that place or like it doesn't make any sense. Like, can Ukraine ever win against Russia? Like that's the one thing you have to ask yourself. Start of a war, end of a war, right? Could Ukraine ever win? No. So the best case scenario is there's a stalemate and nobody wins. And it's not like it changed anything from the day that it started. I don't like just let the little kids punch themselves, punch each other out by the bike rack, and then maybe they'll shake hands afterwards and they'll be all right.
Who was someone? Was it one of the generals in the Civil War? I mean, I know that I'm pretty sure the War is Hell is from the Civil War, but isn't there another one like War is stupid, man is dumb? I think that's also the Civil. Like there is no glory, there's no honor, there's no. It's pointless slaughter.
I mean, it always will be, but
Well, yeah, I'm just
you know,
trying to remember where the quotes were, but I
that
mean,
sounds like a third grader. War is a dummy face.
no, I mean, war's dumb smells like butt. No, I think Eisenhower said, was it him? I think when Truman was president, when North Korea or when Korea invaded, wherever the fuck, said man is stupid. Like he wrote that in his like personal, just said man is stupid. Like it was like on Memorial Day or something. It's like we're going into another war. We just got out of one. Like man is dumb, but You don't want to hear it. But then on the other hand, I'm like, I also, much like, you in a combat zone slowly becoming numb to it, I also have to be like, I live in a, I live in America. I'm 33 and like on my own. Like, am I slowly becoming detached from it to where, do I go spend a year somewhere and I'm like, no, no, the world is run by steel and gasoline with guns. Like, am I becoming detached from? I'm like, war is dumb. Like, maybe that is the case. Maybe it is, a few good men. Maybe it is. I've never seen the movie, but the scene, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Is that the case? It's maybe it isn't as perfect as isolationism, but it's like, hey, if we don't run this shit, someone else will, and that's not a fun answer, but it's also very real,
Yeah,
right?
but we're not Machiavelli. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book called The Traitor and the Spy, and it's about the Cold War with the
Mm-hmm.
KGB and like MI6. And they're trying to recruit this KGB guy. And the whole time they're like going back and forth saying like, am I recruiting him or is he recruiting me? Is it like, is he doing the dangle or am I doing the dangle?
Mm,
Is he going to hit me up for information or am I going to get something from him? And it's literally this paranoia
yeah.
between two people that they can't figure out who's going to be the spy in this thing. And this is just the part I'm at. Um, and that's the same thing with geopolitics, right? Is like everybody's trying to figure out what the other one's thinking instead of just coming out and being like, hey Saddam, do you have any of those weapons of mass destruction, bro? Like we don't want to go in there and check. Like that wouldn't be cool. Like just tell us.
What if it was just that they're like, hey, do you have them or not? We're gonna invade with a million man army. And what if he's just like, oh no, I don't. I got some gas that okay, I shouldn't have it. We're like, all right, well, you watch out. Don't use that gas. And he's like, all right, all right. Like, what if it could just be that, right? But yeah, I don't know. It does seem to be, and then it comes back to like, and then you look back at like a Traitor and the Spy or something. It's like that paranoia, and it's like, what did it really? What did you really do? Who's there's a the YouTube channel Grantham, the guy that's always doing all the fucking. He was like, I think he was it seer training? I think he was like a seer trainer or something, or special forces or something. Great YouTube channel. But he said a quote. He's like, I remember when he's like when I was in the Air Force. He was a whatever forward what they call down the air support or whatever TAC is it something
Yeah, well, yeah, you have your TAC Ps and then you have your combat controllers, but yeah.
something like that. But he goes, I remember he's finishing up a video and it's like around Thanksgiving or something. And he's like he's like when I first got in the Air Force and did whatever, the guy whoever was above me was like, see that cup of water? He's like, yeah. He's like, that's the Air Force. He's like, now take your finger. He goes, and that's you. Put your finger in the Air Force. Puts his finger in the Air Force. He goes, now take your finger out. And he goes, what happened to the water? And he goes, absolutely nothing. And he goes, that's your input on the Air Force. He's like, retire and go take care of your family. And that's what he's just Thanksgiving. He goes, take care of your family. They'll remember you. So if you look at something like the Traitor and the Spy, you're like, what was ultimately the purpose? Just sheer paranoia, and now it's over. Now the Cold War is over, and you're just dead. How many date nights with your wife did you miss? How many, are you just a distant memory and be like, yeah, Grandpa wasn't always home. He was always at work. But then it comes down to like the whole competition thing. Maybe if you got to talk to them, it'd be like you writing a book or me taking OChem. They'd be like, yeah, I know it's all horse shit, but I'm gonna fuck him up first. Like, then I would kind of feel I'd be like, oh, I get it. I get what you're doing. He's like, I know I'm not gonna change the war, but I'll be goddamned if Yuri is gonna get a fast one on me. Then I'm sympathetic to it. I go, oh yeah, you're running in the hamster wheel too.
Well, dude, it doesn't matter what you do. In 150 years, nobody's going to remember you,
Nothing.
right? We hit on this last time, but what's your best case scenario? You become the Speaker of the House, and then they name a bridge after you die, and then people cross this bridge, and they're like, they're going over the Tommy C. Bridge,
But
and
not
everybody's
even
like,
that.
who the
You
fuck
just
is
see it.
Tommy C? Who
You just see it
cares?
hung over in the passenger seat as you're passing it. You're like, the Tommy C. But then it's over. It passed before you even read it. You're like, is there a Wawa up here? Like, yeah. But then the impact you do have though is right family.
Yeah.
You a good brother. You a good son. You a good dad. That it's
But dude, when I joined the army, I was like, I'll be an officer, so I'll actually be able to like
live.
change something.
Yeah.
So
Oh
you
yeah.
come in as a second lieutenant, and I'm like, okay, well, I can try to help out here and there, and nobody cared. And I was like, well, once you make captain, that's kind of when you get your command. I can start making changes there. You get to captain, nobody cares. There's a saying in the army that you can love the army, but the army doesn't give a fuck about you. Like, there's a reason why they were like, Morgan, you have been rated really highly in the military. You've got a great background. Go ahead and walk because there's somebody that's going to replace me. And look, are they going to do as good a job? No, they didn't do as good a job, but who cares? They're going to do the job.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're the highest performer or if you're just barely scraping by, you can still retire after 20 years in the military. And
Mm.
I'll give it to the people that do that. The ones that are like, look, I went into supply because it was easy. And when I retire, I'm going to retire at the same guys at infantry, the same rate, and I'm gonna make the same retirement. And he beat up his body for 25 years, and I handed out toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like I got a better life than he does.
Best case scenario, beat up your body. Next
Yeah,
next case, beat up your mind. Worst case, you're blown up.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's just like there's nothing. Yeah, that's just like as a good job. It's like yeah, the job secured. What are you talking about? I'm getting a pension.
We
There's a
had a dude in the ROTC that his first choice, everybody wants to do infantry, intel, armor, which is like your tank stuff. And his first choice was logistics. And I was like, dude, what the hell are you doing logistics for? And he's like, because I'm gonna do 4 years, I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna go work for FedEx. I'm gonna make a hell of a lot more money. And I was like, wow, I wish I had your perspective. This was
there's
after Blackwater. And I was like,
yeah.
I'm gonna go Intel, and somehow, somewhere in my head, I was gonna go work for the CIA and do all this other cool stuff. And then as you get older, you're like, oh, I could go work for the CIA. But I was talking to somebody over there, and they're like, I never see my family. I got two dogs that I haven't seen. I essentially have an apartment that holds my clothes, but I'm overseas all the time. And I was like, that's just not the life that I want, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, if you can go at that young of an age, 22 years old, going into the military and say, I actually have a plan, dude, that's pretty awesome.
That's
God
insane.
knows I didn't do that at 22, 23 years old.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you go do something like Defense Logistics Agency. You come out and you're like, yeah, you're fucking the best at FedEx. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's like, so is the revolving door a bad thing? I don't think so. I mean, if you could just get in a no, now it sure it gets hairy when it's the people that vote for us to fund Ukraine, then go get a job at General Dynamics or Raytheon, and you're like, well, we're getting into a morally kind of gray zone, but that's not a bad thing at all, and it's kind of comes down to is it just the least worst thing? You go do
Least worst
that.
option, man.
Fuck, that's ultimately I think it comes to, if we had to like boil this all down to like a meta theme, it seems like no no one cares. I think that's it. Is there's another quote I like: "Have a plan, or someone else will for you." Right? I'm looking out for me. This is Tommy's podcast, right? I'm having
Yeah.
you on. You're a cool guy. You and I, we vibe, we date, we feed each other spaghetti. It's whatever, but it's also like it's good because for my show, I get good feedback. And sure, if I can help you out and pushes your book, cool, right? But I'm looking out for me versus you work for someone else. You put in, backbreaking hours. You might be a higher paid executive. You might get a little more, but you're making someone else a fucking ton of money, and that's not even necessarily bad. But there does, I think, need to be a realization that you got to look out for you, man. Like you got to look out for you. And it seems, I don't know if it's a broad general, or it is a broad generalization. I don't know if it's anywhere near the truth, but I would imagine the larger the macroorganism that you take a piece in, be it Walmart or what's even bigger, the federal government, the amount that anyone cares about you is even less, right? I mean, the warehouse job, I knew Joe's dad. Joe's my best friend. He would probably be like, yeah, if you miss a day, you're not fired, right? But as you get bigger and bigger, it's like, are you at work or not? Are you in a call center? Are you one of 50,000 people? What if it's even bigger? What if it's the fucking DOD? You're a number, in, out, gone. And you can't really be surprised if no one gives a shit about you.
Well, what it comes down, there's three pillars. This is what I've come up with. There's where you work, your family, and where you live. And if you can get two and a half of those, you're doing good. If you got a job that you can stand that makes enough money to where you can go do the stuff you want, if you live in a place where you want, like, and if you have your family and you want to, you're actually being able to spend time with them. So it'd be great to be the CEO of, something. But at the end of the day, you make more money and you're going to be all over the place. You're not living where you want. Your family is going like it's the same thing. It's a balance. It's just a tripod instead of, 50-50.
Yeah,
If one of those legs is a little wobbly, hey man, I'm all right with
take it,
that at this point.
take it. Yeah, I mean, I have my dreams for the podcast, and I want it to be X, Y, and Z. But I also have like a level of like acceptance that I'm legitimately. I was in Maryland before this. I moved up here to Maine. My parents are in New Hampshire. My little brother's like an hour away. I moved up here. I'm my own boss. I think healthy. And instead of seeing my parents and brother once a year, just last week we had sushi. And, the last time I saw them was 2 weeks before that. And a month before that, I drove up there and spent a weekend there. I see my family. I'm healthy. I don't have a boss. And, you know, 10 years ago, in 12 days, 10 years ago, I lost a brother to suicide. And I look at how bad things got after that, how much darker they get, to the point where I almost took my life. And I just look at like the path back to any life of, I mean, just being sober and not wanting to kill myself was a win. Then getting a job was a win. Being my own, I'm like, I'm already in like the cherry on top. Everything, this is all bonus. Is it as big as I want? No. You know, do I have fame and ego? And no, I'm near my family. I'm my own boss. Like, I'm at work right now. You and I shooting the shit. This is my job.
Yeah,
Hey man, take it. Take it. Just shut the
just
fuck up.
take it.
I pay my rent. I get to see I call my mom every day. I text my dad and my brothers. Take the dub. I wish I was taller and had a shut the fuck up. Take it. Right? It's and I think that's kind of where I am. And again, is that compromise and blackpilling, or is that growing up and realize this was always the answer? You're just now realizing it. I don't know.
There's got to be the worst things. I've heard people bitch about their jobs for 40 years before they retire, and then of course they miss their jobs and doing stuff on a daily basis. So, dude, just take it. Just
Take
be content with where you are, you know?
take the dub. It, my dad retired. My mom and my dad have their own cabin up in the mountains, and all my dad does every day is chop wood, just planting stuff. And part of me is like, you just worked in like a high pressure job for 40 years. But I now understand it as like, he's taking the win. He loves working, like you in the next book. He just likes working. I'm like, he's just taking the dub. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, sure, always strive for more, but dude, take the win. Take the fucking, this is my job. Like, shut the fuck up. Oh, but I wish I had, okay, that's cool. It's great to have goals and you should grow the podcast, blah, blah, blah. Take the fucking win, you retard. You legitimate retard. Like, shut the fuck up. There will be a day when you're like, why didn't I just enjoy it? So, but yeah, we're coming up on an hour. That's how we wrap this one up. And again, guys, please go in the description. Please go follow him on Instagram. Go grab the book. It's not $26 or $28. If you have Audible, I think it's one credit, and one credit is, I believe, $15 a month. I'm not sponsored by Audible. I should be, but you don't have to do that. Buy credit. I think you still get the commission, whatever the fuck, but
Who
go get it.
knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who gives a shit? I don't fucking know. You're like I owe a loan shark $1 million, Tommy. You're like, I'm real. This is really bad. And I'm like, oh Jesus. Go grab the book. It's legitimately hilarious. I wouldn't have you back on if I didn't enjoy it. And hope to see you on some other shows soon. So I
Yeah.
appreciate
Thanks so
you.
much for having me, man.
Closing thoughts, closing plugs, anything? We good?
Just, take the win and
Take
go
the
buy
win.
my book.
Take the
Help me
win.
win a
Buy the
little
book.
bit. I
Yeah,
might make
help him win a little bit.
just help a guy win.
Just help a guy. Just help a guy take a dub. It's not gay if you maybe watch his Instagram and rub one out. You're not gay. You're exercising. He's your personal. It's not gay, guys. It's
Yeah,
not.
make sure you wear your Apple Watch so you can figure out how far you ran.
Yeah, exactly. It's not gay. It's I don't. People are like, Tom, you're gay. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just helping out a friend. He helps me out. I don't understand the problem here. All All right, brother. Thank you so much, guys. Please go to the description. Please go give him a follow. Please go grab the book. Till next time, man. Thank you so much for your time. Much love,
Recording
everybody.
stopped.
Take care. God bless. Peace.